Good evening, everyone. I'm Andrew Joyce, Chairman of the Albany County Legislature, and welcome back to the William J. Comboy Legislative Chambers. I want to thank you all for your patience and your hard work throughout the pandemic and all of our remote meetings, and not ideal, but it's good to be back in-person meeting. And again, thank you for all your work during the pandemic in your communities. The legislature, the county executive, our health department have all done amazing things, and hopefully we can see our way through this next phase and continue to do our work in person. The governing law and our rules direct that we hold a public hearing prior to the passage of certain legislation. Our rules also prohibit members and the public from questioning legislators and prohibit us from questioning you. Speakers are called in the order their names appear on the sign-up sheet. Speakers are permitted 5 minutes to express their views. If you are participating remotely, and I will note tonight our efforts to have the public participate remotely via Zoom. By my estimation, this is the first time in Albany County government history where we've had both in-person and remote participation from the public in our meetings. So very good. Hopefully we can improve upon this model as we go forward. I want to thank our staff in the legislature and the county IT department for everything they've done to get us to this point. But if you are participating remotely, I ask that you remain muted until your name is called. I'd ask the clerk now to please call the roll.
Beston. Brewski. Bergdorf. Chapman. Clay. Cleary. Camiso. Collins. Cunningham. Demolowitz. Here. Drake. Efakoro. Ethier. Here. Feeney. Here. Fine. Grimm.
Here.
Andrew Joyce.
Here.
Ray Joyce. Cohn.
Here.
Lakakis. Here. Lockhart. Here. Murriello.
Here.
Mayo.
Here.
McLaughlin.
Here.
McLean Lane.
Here.
Miller.
Present.
O'Brien.
Present.
Purley.
Here.
Peter. Plosky. Reedy.
Here.
Reinhardt.
Here.
Ricard. Simpson.
Here.
Smith.
Here.
Tunney.
Here.
Ward.
Here.
Whalen. Willingham. (29) present.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I just want to take this opportunity to remind everyone to mute your devices if you have them in chambers here. Also, if you're participating remotely, please mute until you heard your name called or you hear your name called. We do have a busy agenda tonight with public hearings for Local Law C, which concerns the sale of catalytic converters, Local Law E, which is salary disclosure, Local Law H, which talks about healthcare access, and Local Law N for redistricting, in the order which we'll be dealing with these different public hearings tonight. Clerk, please read Resolution 138.
Public hearing on proposed local law number C for 2022, a local law of the County of Albany, New York, regulating the sale of used catalytic converters. Resolved by the County Legislature of the County of Albany that a public hearing on proposed local law number C for 2022, a local law of the County of Albany, New York, regulating the sale of used catalytic converters, is to be held by the Albany County Legislature at 7:15 p.m. on Tuesday, September 27, 2022, with participation information to be made available on the Albany County website, and the clerk of the county legislature is directed to cause notice of such hearing to be published containing the necessary information in accordance with the applicable provisions of law. Affidavits of publication are on file in the clerk's office.
Madam Clerk, please read the first name.
There are no speakers.
Is there anyone in chambers who wishes to speak on proposed Local Law C for 2022? Hearing none, the public hearing on Local Law C is now closed. Madam Clerk, please read resolution number 184.
Public hearing on proposed local law number E for 2022, a local law of the County of Albany amending local law number 1 for 2013 entitled An Ominous Human Rights Law for Albany County. Resolved by the County Legislature of the County of Albany that a public hearing on proposed local law number E for 2022, a local law of the County of Albany amending local law number 1 for 2013 entitled An Ominous Human Rights Law for the Albany County, to be held by the Albany County Legislature at 7:15 p.m. on Tuesday, September 27th, 2022, with participation information to be made available on the Albany County website, and the clerk of the county legislature is directed to cause notice of such hearing to be published containing the necessary information in accordance with the applicable provisions of law. Affidavits of publication are on file in the clerk's office.
First name on the list, please.
Carol Warneman.
First of all, I want to thank Carolyn McLaughlin for Local Law E, which, of course, I'm sorry, which requires employers to disclose the minimum and maximum salary that goes along with a job. Now, hopefully, this will do as intended, which will reduce discriminatory pay inequity. It will reduce discrimination based on race, gender, disability status, age, weight, height. Yes, height. Taller people make more every year, and how much more they make is per inch of height above average. Yeah, that's why I'm not getting paid here. But in any event, height affects salary, promotion, and even getting the job in the first place. Now, with Local Law E, employers can still discriminate. It's just going to be harder. And will also be easier for people to sue. Now, this bill is a really good companion to something, a bill that Lynn Lakakis had done several years ago, which is now law, that employers can't ask job applicants their current salary, which of course reduces discrimination against all the groups that I already named. Now, both Lynn's law and Carolyn's bill will, of course, help Albany County to be more inclusive. Thank you.
Next name, clerk.
There are no more speakers.
Is there anyone else in chambers who wishes to speak on Local Law E for 2022? Hearing none, the public hearing on Local Law E is now closed. Madam Clerk, please read resolution number 302.
Public hearing on proposed local law number H for 2022, a local law of the County of Albany, New York, preventing interference with access to health care facilities. Resolved by the County Legislature of the County of Albany that a public hearing on proposed local law number H for 2022, a local law of the County of Albany, New York, preventing interference with access to health care facilities is to be held by the Albany County Legislature at 7:15 p.m. on Tuesday, September 27th, 2022, with participation information to be made available on the Albany County website, and the clerk of the county legislature is directed to cause notice of such hearing to be published containing the necessary information in accordance with the applicable provisions of law. Affidavits of publication are on file in the clerk's office.
First name on the list, please.
Carol Warneman.
won't need it. Thank you. All right. Local Law H. First of all, I want to thank Andrew and Lynn again for this bill. And I was so happy to see that it was broader than a bill about blocking abortion clinics and women's health care clinics. It actually, this bill includes all health care facilities. And therefore, it'll include, and these are things that have actually happened, although I don't think in our county, vaccination sites, testing sites, hospitals. Yes, people do block those things. And I'm also happy to see that Local Law H includes penalties for violating this. And that would be a welcome change from the Master Tobacco Settlement Agreement, which includes none, and therefore nobody does, well, many people don't do what they're supposed to. It's very deeply disturbing that Local Law H, in a civilized society, which I still want to believe we are, it's deeply disturbing that Local Law H is needed. But it certainly is. Thank you.
Is there anyone else in chambers who wishes to speak on Local Law H for 2022?
No.
Stand by.
I can get you that information, but not immediately.
Hang on.
He did not hear.
On YouTube, we have 12 viewers right now. 12 people outside watching. We are live, yes. Be on your best behavior, Mr. Ethier, as usual. Did I poke the bear here? I don't want to poke the bear.
Such an important bill coming up. We got such an important bill coming up next. 300,000 people in Albany County. I thought they'd be interested in this.
Very interesting. Is there anyone else in chambers who wishes to speak on Local Law H for 2022? Hearing none, the public hearing on Local Law H is now closed. Madam Clerk, please read resolution number 343.
Public hearing on proposed local law number N for 2022, a local law of the County of Albany, New York, amending the Albany County Charter for the purpose of establishing legislative districts based on the 2020 census. Resolved by the County Legislature of the County of Albany that a public hearing on proposed local law number N for 2022, a local law of the County of Albany, New York, amending the Albany County Charter for the purpose of establishing legislative districts based on the 2020 census, will be held by the County Legislature and the William J. Conboy II Legislative Chambers, Albany County Courthouse, Albany, New York, at 7:15 p.m. on Tuesday, September 27th, 2022, and the clerk of the county legislature is directed to cause notice of such hearing to be published containing the necessary information in accordance with the applicable provisions of law. Affidavits of publication are on file in the clerk's office.
Just as a reminder for everyone, speakers are called in the order which the names appear on our sign-up sheet. Please mute your devices here in chambers if you have them. And if you are waiting on Zoom to be heard, please mute your device until you hear your name called. Speakers will be permitted 5 minutes to express their views. Speakers may not ask questions of legislators, and legislators may not ask questions of speakers. First name on the list, please, Madam Clerk.
Tom Klingon. Tom? You can speak. Can you hear me?
Mr. Klingon, are you on Zoom? Can you hear us? If so, you can unmute and speak.
Tom, can you hear me?
Yes, I am.
Okay, you can go ahead and speak.
I thought I was unmuted. Good evening. I'm a member of the Albany County Redistricting Commission, and I thank the county legislature for this opportunity to speak regarding the redistricting plan we have submitted for your consideration. I believe that the plan we have proposed after nearly a year of work is not only the best plan for Albany County, but also affords the county the best defense against another Voting Rights Act lawsuit. The Commission and the MMD Subcommittee faithfully followed the provisions of Local Law 8 for 2019 in creating this proposal. We were able to connect with Jeffrey Weiss, a nationally recognized expert in the redistricting process, to serve both bodies as the council. His contract with the subcommittee also included the services of Dr. Lisa Handley, who specializes in analyzing the strength of proposed majority-minority legislative districts. Our two separate bodies worked in close cooperation with the goal of securing maximum public input. As noted in our report, we held numerous public hearings and received testimony from more than 50 people and organizations. Albany County saw significant growth in population between 2010 and 2020, but this growth was not even throughout the county. Our task has been to fairly and evenly create 39 new districts in accordance with the many requirements of federal and state laws and Local Law 8. The districts most changed in our plan are the MMDs and the districts immediately adjacent to them. This is a direct result of the growth of minority populations in those areas and led to our decision to increase both the number of MMDs and the neighborhoods within those MMDs. It should come as no surprise that these much-changed districts are perhaps the most controversial, but that should not take anything away from the fact that the Commission and the Subcommittee, advised by knowledgeable, nationally recognized authorities in legislative redistricting, have determined that these MMDs are the most likely to enable the minority communities of Albany County to elect the representatives of their choosing. I ask each legislator to consider the embarrassment and the cost of yet another expensive lawsuit if this proposal of the Independent Commission is rejected. There is a very real possibility that the courts could even appoint a special master to draw new districts instead. Our plan is a sound one, and I urge all county legislators to give it fair consideration. I thank you for the opportunity to comment this evening. Good night.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Patricia Sibilia.
Patricia Sibilia, and I'm speaking to you tonight as one of the commissioners of the Albany County Redistricting Commission. I'm going to cover with you the technicalities and the laws we followed in creating our proposed districts so that you have a better understanding of what was required of us. This is similar to a presentation I did at one of our public hearings where we endeavored to educate everyone on the process. If you haven't already reviewed our website, please do so you can see all of the 50-plus meetings that we held and all of the other work products that came out of our work. We carefully considered all the input we received when drawing our maps, but to be clear, we had to adhere to what the laws outline, including the priority given to certain factors of them. As you may already know, the 2020 census count is the primary driver of the redistricting process, and as per law, the final census numbers get adjusted by incarcerated individuals being placed back into their former home addresses. This adjusted account is 316,079 individuals for all of Albany County. While the Albany County Local Law 8 for 2019 guided a good portion of our work, it was superseded by the New York State law passed in October 2021, which clearly outlines the criteria but also the priority order of them. The law enumerates 5 priorities, although the last priority combines multiple factors together. The New York State law's #1 priority is the difference in population between the most and least populous district, and it shall not exceed 5% between them. The total population of the county, when divided evenly across the 39 districts, results in an ideal population of 8,105 residents per district. So in order to stay as close to that mean as possible, the population of a district can only vary within a range of plus or minus 2.5%, which is only roughly 202 people. To balance the population between the districts, commissioners must move census blocks, the smallest unit of census data defined by the U.S. Census Bureau. These census blocks cannot be divided. The difficulty in trying to keep within the required range of 200 people is that there is a large variation in the size of census blocks based on the density of the population in an area. For Albany County, that variation goes from 0, such as in a commercial, agricultural, or recreational area, to 3,294 individuals, such as in a highly populated area.
2 minutes.
Albany, Cohoes, Colony, and Guilderland each have undividable census blocks of over 1,000 people. This creates challenges in trying to fine-tune lines since we can't split census blocks and need to keep within that deviation range of 200 people. The term census block is a bit misleading as they are rarely shaped like a block and often surrounded by other large census blocks. So it's seemingly reasonable suggestion to include or exclude a particular area of a neighborhood can prove to be impossible when adding or subtracting one census block can throw the numbers completely out of whack. The second priority the state law gives is that districts shall not be drawn with the intent or result of denying or abridging the equal opportunity of racial or language minority groups to participate in the political process or to diminish their ability to elect representatives of their choice. Local Law 8 for 2019 specifically addressed this by creating the MMD subcommittee. We give kudos to them who worked tirelessly on this difficult task in coordination with their hired expert. The ACRC accepted the MMD's plan unanimously. The third and fourth priorities outlined in the state law are contiguity and compactness in that order. In drafting our plans, we visually reviewed and several times adjusted. The last priority outlined in the state law combines several different criteria into one enumerated fifth priority on all seemingly equal footing: political data, municipal boundaries, and communities of interest. On political data, districts shall not be drawn to discourage competition. Candidate and party registration were excluded from all phases of the mapping process. Also included is the maintenance of existing districts, and we seriously took this into considerations and to the extent possible made adjustments to achieve this. The last criteria in the fifth priority of the New York State law speaks on keeping intact communities of interest where possible, which implies without violating the four higher priorities. Please understand that if the maps we produced didn't seem to incorporate the public feedback, it may be because we had to adhere to higher priority factors that did not allow us to do so. I urge those of you who have concerns about the maps drawn to use the interactive tool on the redistricting website and drill down to the census block level and explore the possibility of further adjustments. I thank you for your opportunity to speak this evening.
Just as a reminder for our speakers tonight, you can submit your comments in writing to the body, to the clerk.
Thank you. And just of note, we were the first Albany County government to do both Zoom and in-person public hearings.
Okay, that's good competition. Ms. McLean Lane, we're not going to...
Quick clarification, was that the New York State redistricting law, or was it the New York State redistricting law of counties?
It was the New York State redistricting law of counties for
Okay, thank you, that's all I wanted to know.
Marie Allen Campbell.
Good evening, and thank you for this opportunity to speak. My name is Maria Allen Campbell, and I am the chair of the Majority Minority District Redistricting Subcommittee, and we were charged with configuring districts for the majority minority districts. To provide some context flowing from the state-adjusted population data, it's clear Albany County has become substantially more diverse over the last 10-year period. In almost all of the districts, with few exceptions, the non-Hispanic Black, Hispanic, and Asian populations have increased, and the non-Hispanic white population has decreased in most of the districts. While diverse populations exist within most of the municipalities, the most diverse areas of Albany County include, of course, the city of Albany, Menands, and Waterville. This is followed by, respectively, by Green Island, Colony, Guilderland, Cohoes, and Ravenna. The largest increase in diversity occurred in the current District 7, which includes the following neighborhoods: Beverwick, Pine Hills, and Washington Square. In this district, the non-Hispanic white population decreased by more than 20%. Non-Hispanic Black increased 11%, Hispanic increased 5%, and the Asian population increased 1%. It's also important to note that the non-Hispanic Black populations in the current majority minority districts have decreased an average of 4%, with the highest decreases in Districts 1, 2, and 6. In the last court decision, as I'm sure many of you know, it was determined that racial polarization exists in Albany County. Our work with consultants indicates that racially polarized voting still exists. In racially polarized area, effective minority districts afford minorities the best opportunity to elect representatives of their choosing. In order to ensure equality of population in current MMD areas and to increase representation in a number of MMDs, it was necessary to reconfigure the MMDs and districts surrounding the MMDs. This was done consistent with the higher priority to ensure the rights of minorities are not denied or abridged. Because the area in the city of Albany in which the MMDs are located is fairly concentrated, the facts that minorities have moved to some extent out of the majority minority districts into further areas surrounding the MMDs, and also the fact that we created 7 MMDs resulted in an impact
1 minute.
on some of the districts. With the guidance of our mapping and legal consultants, including a renowned racial voting expert in significant analysis, the recommendations we have put forward are sound and result in increased representation for minority communities. Unfortunately, in redistricting, it's not possible to come up with a plan that satisfies everyone and does
30
not
seconds.
adversely impact some districts. And there is no one perfect solution. Thank you for this opportunity to speak.
Douglas Campbell.
congratulate the county executive and the Albany County legislature for keeping government intact. And through this, it's been a trying time for all of us as far as work and home and family and our health. But I tend to believe in what was going on with the redistricting for the county. It happened all of a sudden, and I've seen a lot of support not there. What I want to do is get to learn how it works more and to give it more support so that more of the people in the county know and understand and can make an informed decision. Thank you.
Julia Long. Julia. There are no more speakers, Chairman. Julia? Oh, she wants.
Is there anyone else in chambers who wishes to speak on proposed local law N for 2022? If you could please come to the microphone and state your name. And sign the sheet, please. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Donna Bullock. I'm a member of the MMD, the Majority Minority Subcommittee of the Albany County Redistricting Commission. Thank you for this opportunity to address you this evening. What I'm sharing with you tonight is a memo that was prepared by Jeffrey Weiss. He is the attorney who represented both of the committees, and it relates to a memo that he prepared basically explaining Dr. Lisa Hanley's, who was our voting expert, her report. We were fortunate to have one of the nation's leading racial voting experts, Dr. Lisa Hanley, conduct research and submit a report to the Majority Minority Subcommittee, or the MMD, that examined racial voting patterns in Albany County. Dr. Hanley analyzed all recent statewide, countywide, and county legislative elections that included both black and white candidates. Her focus was on biracial elections because the courts, including the court in Pope versus County of Albany, indicated that, quote, elections that include minority candidates are more probative than contests in which all candidates are white, end of quote. Dr. Hanley's initial research indicated that voting is racially polarized in Democratic primaries in the heavily Democratic area where the minority districts are located. She recommends that the 5 current districts that provide black voters with an opportunity to elect their candidates of choice should be maintained in the new plan. Based on additional public comment and maps submitted by the public, and developed by the MMD, a decision was made by the MMD to recommend a plan to Albany County Redistricting Commission that created 7 potentially effective minority districts. 5 of the districts in the proposed plan, districts 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, are likely to elect the minority voting community's preferred candidate of choice, and 2 additional proposed districts, Districts 1 and 7, offer the possibility to elect minority preferred candidates. In addition, the MMD endeavored to follow the requirements of the Federal Voting Rights Act and the suggestions made by Judge Kahn in the Pope decision to consider districts that offered both black and Hispanic voters the opportunity to elect their preferred candidates of choice. The recently enacted John R. Lewis New York State Voting Rights Act supports the concept that, quote, where there is evidence that more than one protected class of eligible voters are politically cohesive, Members of each of those protected classes may be combined. The minority districting plan recommended by the MMD seeks to ensure that the new county redistricting plan respects the growth in Black and Hispanic communities and affords minority voters with the best and the most realistic opportunity to elect preferred candidates to the fullest extent of the law and in the interest of democracy and true representation. The plan crafted by the MMD and County Redistricting Commission fully complies with the Federal Voting Rights Act and the soon-to-become effective state voting rights law. Professor Weiss says, "I do not think that any other plan will satisfy federal and state law. Anything short of the plan we submitted to the legislature can only open the door to yet one more challenge in federal court and a challenge in state court that will set Albany County back to 2015. Thank you for this opportunity to address you this evening.
Is there anyone else in chambers who wishes to speak on the proposed local law N for 2022? Hearing none, the public hearing on local law N is now closed. Do I have a motion to adjourn? The record will be consistent. We have our dutiful clerks right here to keep record.
I just want to emphasize there were 5 speakers, 4 from the committee itself, and nobody spoke against their plan. That's all.
The motion to adjourn? Motion by Mr. Ricard, seconded by Mr. Damalas. All those in favor? Aye. Good night, everyone. Be safe. Good to have you back. Colton and Willow, go to sleep.